Did the SEC just pull the rug on alt season? XRP the big target, and it was hit. But is XRP the only one? Let the altcoins hit the floor. Let the altcoins hit the floor. Let the altcoins hit the floor. It's time for Chico Crypto. Yes, indeed. Out of nowhere, the SEC pulled out the stone cold stunner on the XRP.
It's all right. Look at Stone Cold go.
Like I said last week, as the Treasury news was a dripping, regulators mount up. As this administration is leaving, they aren't getting what they want. Thus, they are going to smack crypto across the face on the way out, which clearly has been happening. But for the most part, Bitcoin, it's holding up, holding above 23K as of yesterday, and in the past week in the 22K to 24K range. But altcoins not faring so well, especially that XRP. Over the past 24 hours, it's down over 30%, with many other coins between 10 to 20% down after 24 hours. And actually, out of those top 100, scrolling down, 85 performed worse than Bitcoin. So today I'm going to be the only YouTuber who analyzes this, hopefully understands it, and identifies the coins who could be in the regulators' sights and who are not in the sights of those gosh darn regulators. So the big obvious one should be if the altcoin ran an ICO, it raised funds from the public, especially US investors with no KYC, they might just have a big old target on them. And I'm being fully transparent about the ones who did it in the top 10. The information is out there online. Binance Coin, no KYC, money raised from the public and most likely US investors. Chainlink, no KYC, money raised from the public and most likely US investors. Polkadot, KYC, so they stopped US investors, but money was raised. Cardano, also like Polkadot. So 40% of the coins in the top 10 may have some questions. Cardano and Polkadot with KYC are more in the clear, but Binance Coin and Chainlink, they have the most to worry about as they possibly took in US investors. Although Chainlink and its token within its network of oracles obviously has utility, thus it's nothing like XRP, which was a pure fundraising device with no utility. In Binance Coin, it started as a pure fundraising device, but as time has gone on, they have been scrambling to find utility for it. Although, here's what I find interesting about all of this. Over 1 year ago, something similar hit the scenes. September of 2019, the SEC announced their settlement with another crypto in the top 10 back then. As we can see, they were number 8. That is EOS. September 30th, 2019, the SEC orders Block 1 to pay a $24 million civil penalty for running the EOS ICO. And EOS, it has heard it. Token price back then was $3.24 and ranked number 8. Today the token price is $2.67 and a rank of 16, losing nearly $8 billion in market cap while the markets have been bullish. But here's what's interesting about that SEC case. The block covered it. It said the penalty, a $24 million civil penalty payable to the SEC for transfer to the general fund of the US Treasury. No disgorgement, no recession orders, no bar, no anything else. Given the amount of money raised and the size of the penalty, this is remarkably short order and it's hard to draw many profound lessons from it. An administrative settlement of an SEC violation isn't precedent. No lawsuit was ever filed. Block 1 agreed to the civil penalty and agreed that the tokens it sold to US persons were securities under US law. What that means is Block 1 tickled the Treasury's B-sack. Remember, this $24 million was deposited to the general fund of the US Treasury, Steve Mnuchin's department. So what is the general fund? From this 1970 CIA document, it's where cash available for the government use is kept. And it's not really a general fund in the accounting sense because money credited to it is not restricted to general governmental purposes, but other fund obligations. Another name for it, as we can see, the CIA calls it Treasury cash money. And from what I can see, they get to do with whatever they please. So the payment was made, no precedent or law set, no lawsuit filed. EOS, they have been able to hold on. Before their settlement with the SEC and Treasury was announced, EOS got added to Coinbase in May of 2019. Well, check the Coinbase app. EOS is still tradable, even though Block 1 agreed that the tokens they sold to US persons were securities under US law. So Ripple and XRP obviously didn't tickle the B-sack of someone, as they are getting hit harder than just a civil penalty. They're getting hit with the lawsuit, and the litigation has begun being filed. The evidence mounted against Ripple, it's fierce, and this time precedent could be set, as a lawsuit it is in federal court with the SEC. The outcome, it will have ramifications for not only Ripple, XRP, and those involved, but those that fall within this security basket. And this case will decide which ones do fall into that basket. The precedent, it will be set. But another thing you can take from this, it's obvious if an altcoin or project raised no funds from investors, they more than likely don't have much to worry about right now. And even better is when the project is run by a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. Thus, there is no company, aka Ripple, to go after. Where does Chico like to go for the DAOs? The DAO tracker, deepdao.io. And obviously, DAOs are growing substantially. Assets under management surged by over 275 million in just the past month, with 178 million of that coming in the past week. And DAO members are getting ready to break 13K. So obviously, DAOs are getting looks, and they only get more looks as nefarious centralized entities fall to the regulators. So DeepDAO, it ranks the top DAOs, and there is one that is hitting top on multiple marks: assets under management and the number of members. That is PieDAO, ranked number 3 AUM and number 2 based on members, over 3,300 of them, or over 25% of the total amount tracked on DeepDAO. And PieDAO has been supporting my channel as well, putting forward sponsorships like this one, and the full details of that can be found in the description. So obviously, PieDAO is governed by the members of the DAO, but what do they govern? Well, in the last video, we covered how they are governing these sponsorships, their risk-adjusted version of Bitcoin on Ethereum, BTC++, and the other pies, aka tokenized indices, DeFi plus L, large cap DeFi, DeFi plus S, small cap DeFi, DeFi plus plus, a mixture of those two, and more like the risk-adjusted stablecoin USD++. Well, since that video, they have launched even more, including the Balanced Pi, which is made up of 1/3 wrapped Bitcoin, 1/3 Ethereum, and 1/3 DeFi++, a mixture of the large and small cap DeFi projects, thus widening the scope of their indices. And this Balanced Pi is slowly becoming their number one based on market cap. But if you look above, there is another new piece of the PieDAO, Pi Vaults, which are yield-bearing and meta governance-enabled pies. And the first one launched is called YPi, which gives you exposure to the Yearn ecosystem. Wi-Fi and Sushi are the dominant pieces, but it also has smaller amounts of Keeper, Cover, Cream, Acro, and Pickle. So yield-bearing and meta governance, what does that mean? Well, it's added DeFi features to the pies, and the TVL locked up in it. So many of the tokens being locked up in these pies are governance tokens, Uniswap, Compound, Yearn, and more. They are used to vote within each of their respective protocols. Part of the problem with DeFi, though, is having to move these tokens around in and out of pies, for example, paying the high gas fees to even vote. Not worth it for your average small holder. PieDAO Vaults Meta Governance solves this with their DAO's DOE tokens. Users participate in governance across all the DeFi ecosystem projects held in enabled Pi Vaults, with just one ERC20, the governance token DOE. And this meta governance is powered with DOE on Snapshot, which occurs gas-free, completely removing the economic barriers to governance participation. Thus, votes for Compound or votes for synthetics could happen. DAO acting as a passport, allowing you to vote across governance as you please. Although it extends further than just governance into the protocols like Compound, but into the Pi vaults itself and its yield-bearing strategies. As you can see, some of the assets within YPi are earning an APY, adding to the Pi's value. And then to the right is a strategy for the asset. Going back to that flowchart, we can see the strategies are also voted on, which does affect the Pi's overall yield. So not one person has a say in how the yield-bearing assets are used, but the DAO holders and the DAO does. And these vaults automatically bounce around to the best performing lending, borrowing, staking, or whatever platform it is, always getting the best APY for that asset. And YPi is just the first vault. In the works is the DeFi Index Yield Vault, which adds a new strategy into this Pi, staking with Sushi, providing high APYs. And it adds other assets like Uniswap, Compound, Synthetics, Aave, and Maker. So you ready to bake some warm apple pie? Well, PieDAO's oven is hot and cheap. Checking out this product, the PieDAO oven is where ETH is piled together in batches, and then the pies are issued once it's full, doing it as one smart contract and massively saving users on gas, which as we can see is over 97%. And back at the dashboard, they have ovens open for DeFi++, the Balanced Crypto Pi, and even the YPi Vault. So bake it up, baby, now. All the links for their growing DeFi product list is in the description. So DAOs and governance tokens from these DAOs I see as safer than those centralized entities who raise funds from US investors. And using DeepDAO you can spot the others. But what else do I see personally as altcoin safe? Well, if they raised funds, the ones that got prior approval from the SEC, of course. And who is one of those projects? Energy Web Chain. Hillrise Capital had an AMA in May of this year, and this question was asked. I have seen somewhere about EWT being one of the projects approved by the SEC. And CEO Walter Koch responds, regarding regulatory aspects, for us to create impact, regulatory compliance, both energy and financial, is a must. We are building real solutions that connect to the electricity grid, leveraging the Energy Web Chain. Because we operate globally, we have directly reviewed the Energy Web project with multiple regulators in different jurisdictions, including financial regulators in Switzerland via FINMA and the US via the SEC. So how about another project? Well, back in July of last year, Blockstack put together the first SEC qualified token offering to the public in the history of the US. And they did this using Regulation A+, the mini IPO. So Blockstack, they are definitely in the clear. And Blockstack is healthy in the top 100 with healthy market cap and healthy volume. But there was another project that received that Reg A+ approval, UNOW's Props token. But going to their stats, the token looks dead in the water, only just over 6,000 bucks in volume, and CoinGecko still doesn't know the circulating supply, thus the market cap can't be calculated. You would think for an SEC okayed token that information would be a given. Thus having this Reg A+ isn't a given for success unless I'm not seeing something with props. So DAOs, no money raised. Reg A+, what is another token type that just might be safe? Airdrops, as usually they are just governance tokens, and of course no money was raised. So Uniswap, it's most likely safe. But this is Chico, and we bring the hottest, latest content. And guess who just updated their GitHub with a token, and the contract was deployed to the Ethereum blockchain. As we can see, 1 inch. So you might just want to go use their products. But the point of this video was to reevaluate tokens based on the new climate emerging for cryptocurrencies. I reevaluate what I hold all the time, and there may be some tokens you're holding onto that the SEC has in their crosshairs. Thus, reevaluation is a good thing. Cheers, I'll see you next time.